Hello all you people out there in TV land, my name is CB Studios, also known as Kurt, and today I'm going to give you a quick look at something that is one of my favorite projects I've ever done. It's the answer to a question that I am constantly asked, and it is honestly some of my finest work, some of the stuff that I am most proud of. Today, we're having a look at my Arockalypse era Mr. Lordi costume from Lordi. Now, to give you a little bit of backstory, Lordi are a Finnish heavy metal hard rock band. They dress as monsters. It's almost like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees started a hair metal tribute band. They are absolutely spectacular. I have been a dyed-in-the-wool fan of theirs since 2006, when they won the Eurovision Song Contest, and that was the first time I was exposed to them. Now, I have been a fan for many, many years. In fact, this entire arm is almost entirely Lordi tattoos. Now, one of the things that drew me to them wasn't just the fact that they play awesome heavy metal, hard rock songs based around horror movies and spooky stuff, but is the fact that they dress in such magnificent costumes. The band are never seen performing without their full costume and makeup on, which is just awesome. I absolutely love. And their musical stylings and their costumes are influenced by 80s heavy metal bands like Kiss, Twisted Sister, Wasp, Alice Cooper, Motley Crue, all of those bands that I absolutely love, and they dress like this. This costume is actually what I respond with as, what is my bucket list cosplay? As a cosplayer, I'm constantly asked, what is the one costume I'd love to do? And for many, many years, it's been this specific costume. I wanted an exact replica. So it was a really good way for me to stretch my skills on casting and molding, trying to get as many reference photos and details as possible, and then building it entirely from scratch. A couple of quick facts about Lordi. They've been around since 2002, and every album cycle they changed their costumes just a little bit. They've had a couple of different members throughout their history, but Mr. Lordi, the big guy, he is their lead singer. He has been there since the very beginning. He is Lordi. Mr. Lordi sculpts and creates all the costumes and stage effects for the band, which is fantastic. It's all his vision. He writes all the music. It's all him. And he's been my single biggest influence in sculpting and molding. All of the stuff that I've learned how to do was specifically to make a replica of this costume. Now, I built this costume back in 2016 for Oz Comic Con, actually. So it's seen a little bit of wear, and it's been in better stages, but it still looks brilliant, and I decided to store it on a mannequin, customized to fit the costume perfectly. Now, you heard me say Arockalypse era. So that is the tour cycle for the Arockalypse album, starting from the very, very beginning, the European tours and things like that. They performed in the Eurovision Song Contest in 2006 and won, wearing this era of costume. Multiple music videos such as Who's Your Daddy, Hard Rock Hallelujah, It Snows in Hell, and the 2006 version of Would You Love a Monster Man. Obviously multiple TV appearances throughout that time, several US tours, several European tours, and unfortunately no Australian tours. They still haven't been here. I'm waiting for that day. But this costume was even worn in the Lordi motion picture Dark. So this costume's been seen a lot, and I feel it's the most iconic of Mr. Lordi's piece. So I'm going to give you a closer look at some of the details and some of the parts, give you a talk through it, and we'll see how we go from there. Okay, so excuse my shaky camera work, but we're going to give you a look at this costume, and I'll give you an overall view of the whole thing first, because it is quite impressive, if I do say so myself. Now, starting off at the boots, we have a custom-made pair of platform boots, and they are 30 centimeters at the heel. They are a solid foam block with a boot attached to the top, just the way that most platforms would be made. And the spider boot covers are sculpted in multiple parts and assembled. They're assembled around a fabric base, and the whole thing slides over the boot almost like a sock over your foot. That allows me to replace them and remove them when I do different versions of Mr. Lordi, and allows me, if I ever need to repair anything, I can get in there really easily and change things around. The leather belts wrapped around his ankles are accurate to the Arockalypse, constantly having leather belts and things covering the boot tops.
There were originally sculpted boot tops that covered that area, but they were removed after the promo shoots in the Arockalypse era. We go up to the shins and knees. Now these do light up. Unfortunately, my circuitry has died since then. I will eventually replace that. But they're sculpted in multiple parts as well and bonded down to a lycra bodysuit. To a lycra bodysuit, much the way that the original costume was done. And they go up, and the top of the thigh pieces, the thigh straps, are attached to the waist. The belt is one of my favorite pieces. It is heavyweight belting leather, and it is nicely stitched and then riveted with all of those really nice studs. Some behind-the-scenes video off one of the Arockalypse era DVDs actually shows how the belt is attached in the back, with two standard men's belt sort of pieces stitched on. So I've been able to mimic that on the back as well. All of these details are hand-painted. Really nice. We can go over to the gloves, which again are leather, and they were made from scratch. I bought a pair of gloves and I used them as a basis and tried to get it as close to the real ones as possible. Latex fingertips are attached to a cotton glove that goes underneath, and that allows me to have some dexterity. We've got my gauntlet pieces, as you can see there, which are really nice, and we have some backstage passes. We've got a support pass from the Dead Ache tour, and we have our backstage pass from the Babes for Breakfast tour. Yeah, Rock Police, all access. Going up to the chest is actually one of the largest pieces, and it's sculpted in two parts. There is a seam, if you look really closely, where it is joined up through here. So there's a top part and a bottom part. The chest piece looks like that, and using reference from the My Un Lordi book, where it has photos of the raw pieces of this costume, allowed me to get that as accurate as I could. We've got the shoulder dragons, which I really like, and they hang over with the nice teeth. We do have the black satin cape. And finally, in the middle, I believe this wasn't on the original version of the costume. It was added not long after the Eurovision win from memory. And it's actually the shield, or the symbol for the town of Rovaniemi in Finland, which I believe. And we've got the head, which is just a wig, and my old prosthetic attached on, and then the top hat, which Mr. Lordi wore in Eurovision when they won. Top hat in Finland. So that gives you a really nice overview of this costume. So I hope that was interesting for you guys. I absolutely love Lordi. I could talk about Lordi day in and day out. You guys would all get really sick of it because it's so incredibly niche. But this is one of my favorite costumes I've ever built, and they are one of my favorite bands. I would say they are my favorite band, and they have been for many years. If you're into 80s heavy metal, absolutely give them a listen. They've got some great sounds. They're super fun. Their music videos are like mini horror movies. Just check them out. They've recently, at the end of last year, dropped their brand new album set. They dropped 7 albums in one single hit, which was absolutely spectacular. It's called Lordiversity. And 7 different albums, as if they had been around in seven different musical time periods, which is just a brilliant. That's about it from me. If you're a fan of Lordi, comment your favorite Lordi song down in the comments. Other than that, stay groovy, guys. Thanks for watching.